It's now 1:30, time for the school board, the DeSoto County School Board to come to order. Stand, please, so we can say the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please make your seat. We need to approve agenda at this time. Your recommendation, sir?
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the agenda.
Do I have a motion?
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
I need a second, please. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. September 15th. We need approval of minutes for September the 15th, 2022. Do I have this in a motion?
I make that motion.
I need a second. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the ayes have it, the motion passed. Consent agenda. Item A. Recommendation, sir.
Madam President, I recommend the board to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have this in a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none opposed, ayes have it, the motion passed. New business, accountability results, Ryan Kirkendall. You gotta have some good news.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Thank you for the pressure and the welcome. It's been a little while since we've done this, so good afternoon. It's good to be with you guys. Before I get started, I did want to explain, you might have seen some things in the media the last two days or so from different districts across the state. How the Mississippi Department of Education released everything this year is they have to have the Commission on School Accreditation approve the results first. And that happened on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And so they, because that meeting was live streamed, districts had the option at 11 a.m. of go ahead and talking about the results, even though they weren't official, they were considered unofficial. So today at 10 a.m., the state board approved the results. So now they're official. So we chose to wait till they're official, and also you guys will be the first to hear it from us. So that's kind of, you may have seen some things, but you haven't seen anything from us. So after this board meeting today, that's when this will be our public release. I believe all you guys have a copy of the presentation, paper copy, and hopefully they're on your screen. So we're going to kind of get into it. So we start with our district mission vision. What we're going to talk about today indirectly impacts 2 through 5, but obviously it's a direct impact of goal 1, focusing on student learning. So instead of walking you through the entire accountability model and how it's calculated, what I did is kind of just gave a common language kind of thing, what goes into it on one slide. Figured that would be helpful for you. So these are the factors that factor into the current accountability model. Student performance in math and English language arts on state assessments in grades 3 through 8 and Algebra 1 and English 2, high school level. Whether all students are meeting annual expected growth in math and English language arts. Whether the lowest performing, which is roughly 25% of the students, are meeting annual expected growth in math and English language arts. Student performance in science on state assessments in grade 5, 8, and biology. Student performance on the high school U.S. history assessment, how well our English learners are making progress toward proficiency in the English language. Student performance on the ACT or the ACT Work Keys assessment. That Work Keys part is new this year. Student participation and performance in accelerated courses such as advanced placement. You see that abbreviated as AP often. IB is not here, but if there's a district or so it is in dual credit courses. Whether high school students are graduating on time. So that's what we are weighted on, and that's what goes into the accountability model. First, before I get started with actual accountability notes, I did want to let you know where we are now with our kindergarten readiness assessment. This test does not factor into accountability. What this test, the purpose of it is it's part of the Literacy-Based Promotion Act. It's actually the very first component of the Literacy-Based Promotion Act. And so this test occurs in August, September of a student's kindergarten year to assess if the student enters school ready for kindergarten. So it's really occurred before any instruction is taking place, and it's just to let us know this is how the student is at 5 years old, starting off school, and you're going to take it from there. The benchmark scale score that determines a student is ready for kindergarten is 530. Keep that in mind. Look at the next slide. And on the next slide, I have listed our fall 22 score average. However, there's adjustments that are made sometimes after the window, so when that's reported by Indeed, it could slightly change. So I've left it up for all of the years, the Literacy-Based Promotion Act, just so you can see. You will see that there is a trend downward, except for from fall 21 to fall 22, but you would expect the fall 21 to fall 22 to be a little up, just considering all things from spring 20 into the 2021 school year. But as you see, there is still that. So we do have work to do when the students come to us. One thing I also wanted to share that's new that I wouldn't typically share, but this was, there was an email, it's called a communication toolkit that the Mississippi Department of Education released with this year's results. As you can imagine, the last 3 years have changed everything. They've also changed accountability. And because of that, data was different. The data was going to be different just when you factor into no assessments in spring 2020 and what the year 2021 was like. So because of that, they kind of help districts communicate this. So I do want to go through these 6 bullets on these 2 slides with you before we get into the results, because I do think they're important when they set the table. The 21-22 grades are based on how students performed during the 21-22 school year and how much progress they made since the 2021 school year. Overall, Mississippi students made much more progress than they typically do in 1 year as schools focus on accelerating learning after the first year of the pandemic. Mississippi educators provided an enormous amount of support to help students overcome the setbacks of the pandemic. The accountability system relies on growth, which is the amount of progress students make from 1 year to the next. Specifically, more than half of the grade for elementary and middle schools is based on growth, and growth makes up more than 1/3 of high school and district grades. In this part, it may be challenging for some schools and districts to maintain grades that improved considerably in 21-22 because of the influence of student growth on school and district grades. That's kind of a continuation of that first one. While additional academic support will continue to be provided to students, many students have already rebounded from their achievement decline, and their rate of growth may return to pre-pandemic growth rates. The third bullet, I won't read that whole one to you, but what that's telling us is that fewer students were assessed in Algebra 1 and Biology in 21-22 since graduation requirements were waived in 2021. So that also impacted the results. Going to the next one, continuing on with their informational email. Schooling was disrupted for more than 2 years, which affected the way students learned and were assessed. Though most Mississippi students had access to in-person learning during the 2021 year, hybrid learning, quarantining, numerous weather-related school building closures created obstacles to teaching and learning. As a result, student achievement declined in 2021 for the first time since we've been measuring under the current testing system. The waiver of passing requirements for high school, Algebra 1, English 2, Biology 1, and U.S. History in 2021 will positively affect the graduation rate until all students who tested under the waivers graduate. And then there were some temporary 1-year adjustments that we had to make because of missing data to even have accountability this year. So you keep that in mind when looking at comparison data to previous years. So the last asterisk there, I added, these are my words, the other words were all in these words. These are my words, this is a summary of those 6 bullets. 22, 23 will not have any of these factors in the same fashion as 21, 22, making 22, 23 accountability much tougher. All right, so let's actually get into the results. So we are pleased to announce that the district continues to be an A. We are an A for, I think it's the 19th. So we are pleased to announce that we are an A. So if you have seen that somewhere, it is true. Here are our calculations for each of the components that the district is graded on. If you remember that third slide where I kind of just walked you through, well, those are actually the points, and they're all on a 100-point scale except for the EO points. That one's on 50, but everything else. So let's look at some proficiency measures over the last 4 years. So this is Ela Assessment Proficiency, and I'm going to be honest with you and tell you this is my favorite slide I'll show you. This is the one I would have gotten wrong. If someone would have given me a test before the results came back and said, will you guys get back to your 18-19 Ela proficiency, I would have said no. But we not only got back to it, we surpassed. So that was the one that surprises me the most. When I first called Mr. Usselton, that's the first thing I told him, because I didn't expect that. So that one, we should be extremely proud of that. It's a lot of hard work by a lot of people to make that happen. District math assessment proficiency for the last 4 years. If you kept up with any data since the pandemic, nationwide data will tell you that math skills were lost at a much higher level than ELA skills during the pandemic. So recovering those skills takes a little longer. They were deeper cuts, if you will. And so what you'll see across those grade levels, we didn't get back to 18, 19 in all grade levels in math, but we did surpass some. And overall, we got back to 0.1 from our 18, 19 math proficiency, which, to be honest with you, is pretty exceptional. We look to take that to another level this year. So some actual notes as far as the district goes. This is our highest point total for the district ever under the current accountability model. To be honest with you, it's our highest point total by a long shot. We are ahead of 18-19 accountability proficiency for ELA and 0.1 from 18-19 for math. That is remarkable. The average points gained from 18-19 to 21-22 among A districts was 19 points. Our gain was 47 points. We have no D schools. We have 23 A schools, which is the most we've ever had. Even through and after a pandemic, we continue to raise the level of students that are leaving high school with a lot of college credit due to advanced placement and dual credit. This means our acceleration points rose substantially again. And furthering that point, our advanced placement passing percentage was 52.7 compared to the state's 37.7. But also keep in mind, we gave 12.6% of all advanced placement tests that were given in this entire state, while we have 7.7 of the overall students. So if you do some quick math in your head, this means we help the state's passing rate tremendously for AP, and we're actually more than 15 percentage points above the state if you take us out of the state. So a lot of people would be familiar for that. That continued during the pandemic and now continue. So here are the actual school results in order. The far right column tells you the grade, and then the far right, the column that says total points on the right side, right next to the grade, that's the actual total points. So they are in order of that column. And then you have the other components that make up that total points. And so you can see the actual top to bottom for all of our K-8 schools. And a reminder that our K1, K2 schools actually get a grade as well, because that's in state law. So students that attended their school, the last grade they served, they're sent back to them. Is the way to think about that. So these are the growth ranks for the K-8 school. This is not an official accountability category. This is just something, to be honest, we always do. All we did is take the 4 growth components and add them together and sort it highest to lowest. So it's not complicated. that just kind of, student growth is super important. That's what it's all about. Student growth is the one thing that ties to every student. Are you growing every student? And so we always emphasize student growth here. And so we just kind of always award a growth champion kind of thing. And so you'll see those ranks as well. So here are the high school accountability results. The high schools have, they're basically on the same scale as the district. They have several more components. So they're on a different scale. And so we have to separate them from the K-8 schools. So you'll see their highest to lowest as well. Just like the K-8 slide, you'll see the grade on the far right, and then you'll see the total points right next to that, and they are in order of those total points. And then you will see the points that make up the categories. So the total points came from. And these are the growth ranks for the high school, just like K-8, we do the same thing. They have the same four growth components. And so we add them together, rank them highest to lowest. Sometimes it gives you a different look at a school because they may have excelled in growth and they're a little higher on that than they were on the actual results. So some K-12 school notes. I could have put a couple slides with this, but I put this is what we chose to go with. South Haven Elementary School gained 83 points from 1819 and went from a D to a B. They just skipped C altogether. Horn Lake Intermediate gained 98 points from 1819 and went from a D to a C plus. They were at the top of C, but very close to a B. Lewisburg Intermediate has the highest point total ever under the current accountability system for a 700 scale DeSoto County school. The next two are really exciting. Lewisburg Primary has the highest point total ever under the accountability system for a 600 scale DeSoto County school and are the #1 ranked traditional K-8 school in the state. You got to keep in mind that's out of over 600 schools. Lewisburg Elementary is the #3 ranked traditional K-8 school in the state, again, out of over 600 schools. Based on school names, and I say that because the state spreadsheet has a lot of schools on there, so it's hard to go through all of them, but we try to do what we can in about a day before this presentation. Hernando Middle is the #1 traditional middle school in the state. Lewisburg Middle is 2, DeSoto Central Middle is 7, and Central Middle is 8. I'm going to give you a couple of proficiency numbers here. Hernando Middle was #4 in 7th grade ELA, #10 in 8th grade ELA, #9 in 6th grade math, #2 in 7th grade math, #1 in 8th grade math in the state. Lewisburg Middle was #1 in 8th grade science, #7 in 7th grade ELA, #6 in 6th grade math, #1 in 7th grade math, and #6 in 8th grade math in the state. And Central Middle was #4 in 8th grade math proficiency. Lewisburg High School surpassed the 50 points in acceleration. First time that's happened in our district. So during the summer, I was trying to figure out, do they actually get more points than 50? We've never seen that in the state, so I didn't know how that worked. And I can confirm you do get more than 50 points. So they are 52.5. And they rank #2 in the state for traditional high schools in that category. Lewisburg High is #4 in college and career readiness, #6 in reading proficiency, and #5 in math proficiency for the traditional high schools. Hernando High School is #1 in biology proficiency and #8 in acceleration for the traditional high schools. And Olive Branch High School was #7 in biology and 1 proficiency for the traditional high schools. So those are the ones I decided to go with. There are a few more. So in conclusion, the district obviously had fabulous results this year. The circumstances of the last 3 years forced the district to cut down and focus on the basics. We will continue to make this our primary focus. Everyone sitting to my left are the ones who make that happen and lead that process. There were some advantageous situations that played a part in these results, to be frank. That's what the email talked about. They really impacted growth and graduation rate. But these advantageous situations will turn into challenges for 22-23 accountability as things return more, especially for grade 3 through 8. Because of this, accountability in 22-23 will be much harder than 21-22 accountability. However, our proficiency surpassing 18-19 in ELA had nothing to do with any advantageous situation. That's not a reflection of anything in the past, and shows tremendous work over the last 3 years by all. That's actually what should be celebrated by everyone in the district. And the fact that we were 0.1 from equaling our 18-19 math account. proficiency. So really the main conclusion, the district continues to be an A, even as things change. We are one of only 9 districts that were an A in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and are an A in 2022. These years are important because these are 5 years of accountability since math testing began and since we've had the current accountability system. So the district, everyone's hard work is to be commended.
Sure it is.
Any questions?
Awesome.
So did I deliver on your?
Yes, you did. You're safe. You're safe. Thanks to these. Thanks to all these ladies and gentlemen on this side, and our teachers and our administrators. We can't thank them enough. And we thank you for being able to read this.
I tell somebody, I was talking to a student the other day at school, and she said, "What do you do?" And I told her, and she made a face, and I said, "Somebody."
That is awesome.
Thank you all.
No wonder everyone in the state's jealous of DeSoto County. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Just a few things I'd like to say and echo what Ms. Riley said. These test results are probably the most rewarding ones. I know the most rewarding we've had since I've been in office, just because of all the challenges that we faced. Our students and teachers and school staff and administrators worked very hard, and we know the challenges that they faced over these last 2 years. And I mean, I'm just so glad that they can see the fruits of their labor and all that they did there. And here at the district office, I mean, we've got a lot of people in here. And, I mean, just with our leadership team, I know Mr. Chase and Ms. Samples worked very hard on the digital rollout to get laptops out to everybody and to make sure that process was rolling, and then the virtual learning part was. Assistant superintendents, they all, our 4 assistant superintendents took on all kinds of roles during this time, and it wasn't, what's your job description over the last 2 years? It's who can do what to help. We have several directors and central services staff who are in attendance who did an excellent job, and then our academic team from Mr. Spencer and Ms. Smith and Ms. Strickland, our specialists who are in attendance. So appreciate all that y'all have done, and I know this is a great accomplishment. I know y'all will give all the credit to the teachers and administrators, which y'all deserve a great deal of credit too. Normally they wouldn't be here; they're out of schools all day, but we had asked them if they could come in today, just because I want to thank them in person for all of their hard work, because they do a great job of going out to the schools and helping the teachers and helping the students to make sure that the students can be as successful as possible. So I just wanted to point out the group who's here today and all of our district office people who are here today. Everybody serves a role in this, and it doesn't matter. I won't pick on our security guys, but everybody who's in here seriously serves a role in that. Everybody can be proud for this, because everyone has a specific job to do, which all leads to student success.
Takes the team, win the game.
You're exactly right. Former coach here.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, do you have something to say on contractual agreement, or who is doing it? Okay, all right. Excuse me, I'm lost.
Excuse me.
We need Mr. Williams to speak.
Yes, you always have something to say. Now we'll have the superintendent's report. I'm just excited. These things could be.
After that great report, it was hard to get back.
I know,
That was
that's
good.
swinging.
That was a great report by Mr. K. He put together a great report. That's
Even I could understand.
seriously, that's very good.
It was.
And people don't realize, I mean, what he's doing here, this is a year, like we're already, we've been into next year, since April, really basically have started planning. But as far as the accountability results, it's so hard to all that. And he does a wonderful job with that. All right. So I thanked everybody. I've got to make sure I didn't leave anybody out who's here. All right. So thank our whole central services team. Team. But I appreciate it. All right. So our central services, I've got a letter here that I would like to read to everyone who's in attendance. Then I'll turn it over to Ms. Riley after that. Dear board members, This is a letter from me. On September 15th, Ms. Ann Jolly announced her retirement from the DeSoto County School Board. Our remaining board members, our 4 remaining board members, have all expressed an interest in making a lasting tribute to Ms. Jolly for her 33+ years of service to DeSoto County Schools. It is my recommendation that we name the boardroom as Central Services for Ms. Jolly. After board approval, the boardroom will be named the Ann Jolly Boardroom. I want to thank the remaining DeSoto County School Board members for bringing this potential designation to my attention. We can all agree that Ms. Jolly deserves as much recognition as possible for her years of service and her commitment to the students and employees of DeSoto County Schools. She'll be missed by everyone associated with DeSoto County Schools. So at this time, I would ask the board to consider naming the boardroom here at Central Services the Ann Jolly Board.
You heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion to this?
I make that
Do I have a second?
motion.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it.
Ms. Jolly, we got a plaque. We got a plaque that came in the boardroom.
I appreciate it.
Y'all calling for a speech?
I didn't take this job to be important or anything else. I just took it for the schools and for the kids and for my children who taught or worked here. So I appreciate it. I'm very grateful for this, but I have enjoyed the 33 years. We have been a lot of places and done a lot of things. And DeSoto County's always been the best. So I'm glad that I could represent this county. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're right. That concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you so
I
much.
learned while we were waiting on that.
We will adjourn until Thursday, October the 6th, 2022 at 3 p.m. May we have a motion to that? A second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.
Section 230.